Good afternoon. This is True Corn, and I'm Janet, and this is Let's Talk Connect. Today, let's connect on growth. Such an important thing and to talk about, such an important part of our lives, such a wonderful experience to become aware of and to facilitate more of once we kind of get the hang of it. I looked it up actually. In the dictionary says the process of something becoming bigger. That's an interesting way to look at it. Okay. Obviously, we all know what growth is, but you just have to look at like planting a seed, a kernel of corn, for example, and watching it grow, watching it break through that kernel and from the bottom and take roots and breaking through from the top. Reminds me of a story I heard one of my favorite speakers tell. Can't remember her name right this second, but it's if you saw a little bird like trying to peck their way out of the egg, and you went to help it by, pulling away some of that egg so it could get out, the little bird would die because the strength that it needs to get out of that egg is the strength that it needs to live. And so anyway, so growth, an interesting topic, an interesting experience, and certainly a gift that we can learn how to give ourselves in a more productive way, a more comfortable way, a more conscious way, and it is self-love, and it is giving yourself the ability to grow gracefully as opposed to kicking and screaming, which we've all been there, I'm sure. But interestingly, if you look at a little baby who's learning how to walk, and you continue to watch, just kind of watch as they're going through that phase, instinctively, innately, they just, obviously they're watching people around them, they're watching their mother, they're watching other humans walk, so they're trying to mirror that experience. They don't ask if they can do it, they just do it. They just try to do it and then do it. But that's growth, like happening right before our eyes. You can watch it, you can see it, same way you can see a seed growing in a little pot in the soil. You can see it. But for us, once we, not talking about physical growth now, talking about like spiritual growth or lessons that we've come here to learn, lessons that we're learning along the way, the process of growth can be difficult, and that's putting it mildly. It can actually be incredibly painful. I've certainly had those experiences myself where the growth for me has been the kicking and screaming kind. Why is this here? How can I put an end to this? How do I, how can I heal my broken heart? How can I get over not having any money? How, I lost my job. We want the relief. We want to self-soothe like immediately, and we hope for the elimination or the reduction of that discomfort that we feel, the pain that we feel, the frustration that we feel going through those growth spurts. And I think for me, and it's funny because over time I've had experiences where I have learned certain lessons that I'm relearning now, and you say to yourself, well, geez, how is it that I knew that then and I did that then, and then I just kind of forgot? Like over the course of years, I just went back to sleep and just kind of forgot that, and now I'm like relearning it. And as I'm relearning it, I'm like, oh yeah, I've done that before. I practiced that before, I did. But this journey of that we're on requires the mindfulness and pursuing and pushing ahead all the time and in a conscious fashion. And if we don't do that, we do find that we have these like peaks and valleys of where we're learning and growing, and then we kind of just forget all about it, and the program just wants to run again. The needle wants to go back in the groove. The new program hasn't been changed. You didn't become that new person fully, and so the minute you take your eye off the ball, you're going back to the old ways of being. And I think that's interesting too, is you have to be something new. You have to be something different. Like, this little bird pecks its way out of the shell and then has to be living outside of this egg, right? It has to survive and grow into the full bird that eventually flies. And same is true for us, right? Like, we have to grow and become the new person that the growth spurt pushed you into, and then consistently live as that new creature in order to so that we don't backslide again, right? Interesting experience, this growing thing, and it can be very painful, it can be very difficult, but I've also learned too that the sooner that we're aware of this pain and discomfort, the sooner we're aware, it makes it so much easier and makes so much more sense to you, if or to me as well, if you could just say to yourself, this is a growth stage for me, this is an opportunity for me, this is, thank you, universe, thank you for this growth, because on the other side of it, there's going to be a breakthrough for me. There's going to be something I've been dreaming about, something I've wanted, something I've been pursuing. And you know what? This is a sign that I'm actually almost there. So embrace these growth spurts, welcome them, be thankful for them, and trust that the universe has your back, and trust yourself too, right? Put your arms around yourself if you can, internally, go within and give yourself some love, because you're doing fine. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. See you soon.